Perhaps as a start, a very short introduction of APG for those who are not familiar with the organization I work for. APG is the asset management arm of Europe's largest pension fund, ABP. We operate a multi-client model, so we manage all assets of ABP, but also other Dutch pension funds. And the assets under management amount to over 280 billion right now. And I cannot emphasize enough that it's only pension fund money. As such, we are a liability-driven investor. We know each month what we have to pay. So for us, that's the goal. It's not maximizing returns as such. And therefore, we are a very heavy user of OTC derivatives. We are one of the world's largest users of OTC derivatives. So we had a particular concern and interest in regulations covering OTC derivatives. And not only in the Union, but also, of course, in the US, and to a certain extent, but a lesser extent, in Asia. We got, after a lengthy, I hear some echoes, I don't know.
Yes,
yeah.
Could we do something about that echo, please? Thank you.
So the situation right now is that in Europe, the pension funds got an exemption for central clearing under EMIR. We have been advocating that. Perhaps this is not the place where I should elaborate on the exact reasons why. But even with this exemption, we are very sure that this initiative will change the landscape for trading OTC derivatives completely, and that we will use the central clearing facilities, whether completely voluntarily or driven by market situations. From the beginning, we have been discussing all of this, of course, with the Commission, with Parliament, with, in our case, The Hague, but certainly also with the potential clearing members, and not to forget the central platforms. And what are our experience with these potential clearing members? What do we want from a clearing member? One of the first findings we have is that there's a big gap, a world of difference between buy and sell side. The first time we were approached by a potential clearing member, one of the few still very active in this field. When we asked them, what are you going to do with our collateral? And we talk about, in our case, for our company alone, in the initial plans, 14 to 18 billion euros on a daily basis. They looked a bit bewildered and said, well, we're going to use it for banking activities. We don't think so, because this is our money. And we use the derivatives to hedge for our pensioners and the participants in the schemes. And we're not going to use it for banking activities. If we want to use money for banking activities, we buy your stock. But we don't do both. And if you, and we even now today, we speak to the handful of potential clearing members bi-weekly, sometimes more often. And it's getting better. But again, there's a huge gap between sell and buy side. Potential clearing members were surprised to find that buy-side firms, or some of them, do have the knowledge, do have the expertise to enter into this discussion and voice their concerns and ideas. What you should not do as a potential clearing member is use we know best approach. Please don't do that. We are all now in unmapped territory. We're nearing the implementation phase on both sides of the ocean. There's an awful lot of details to be solved. And buy side and sell side should do that together on an equal basis. If clearing members do not understand and realize that, companies like the one I work for will not select you as a partner. Equality of arms. And that applies to more things than only the model itself, which has now been laid down in regulation. There's a tendency that clearing members focus on fees. Perhaps I should not say this aloud and in public, but fees do not really matter to us. Okay, there's a limit to it. But this is about safety, reliability, and mutual trust. If we cannot trust the reliability of the systems, legal structures, IT support of a clearing member, you will not be selected by us. And if it's cost more, taking the amounts of billions of euros, if it takes 1, 2, 3 million more a year to have a safe system, that's all discussable, no problem. The money should be safe. To zoom in, the segregation issue. No, the money will not be used for banking activities. For sure it will not. In the US now, there is a movement, or there's a tendency that the CFTC is now stepping efforts to try to regulate full segregation. We have been, together with our US pension fund colleagues, been knocking on the door of the CFTC for a long time in order to have this solved. The door stayed closed until MF Global went bankrupt. And exactly happened what we were afraid of. Something for the to-do list in Europe, I guess. What do we want from a clearing member? Mutual trust. We are all together in unmapped territory. We know central clearing will be there. We know the level playing field has changed and will change even further. But nobody of us knows exactly how it will look like. Certainly not now we have entered into the implementation phase. Issues like national solvency laws, portability, against segregation, extraterritoriality. Can we as a European party still do business with a London branch of a US entity? We still don't know. But the US banks don't know either. We should solve that together, because it will be there, the system. So exchange of information. And some of the potential clearing members are much better in that than others, who still apply we know best approach. It's not only the clearing members though, it's also the central platforms. The clearing members, of course, refer very often to the rules and regulations of the CCPs. So, since a while, we are having direct discussions with the CCPs, but because in the end, that's where the money is. So everything I said for clearing members applies to CCPs too. And then you talk about governance. You talk about seats in risk committees. It's our money, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lot of money. And for the Dutch situation, it's all paid for by individuals who do not have a choice. They have to pay it into this pension scheme. So we fight for it. Unmapped territory, we should work together. Teamwork, we should strive to the best result. We will be there, we own the flow, we will make use of the systems, and again, the cost factor is only one element of the whole proposal. It's about safety, reliability, and mutual trust. And there I already end, Peter, so in order to conquer your 8 minutes again. The gap between buy and sell side is too wide. It should not be two ships passing each other in the night. We should sail together on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.